Hello. Hi. Good morning. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I just wanted to go through a quick morning hip stability routine. This has become part of my pretty much daily ritual for starting the day. I have some issues with my left glute being a lot weaker than my right. So after seeing some physical therapists and getting some treatment protocols, this is kind of a combination of some different things that some very smart people who have been through a lot of schooling have given me, and then just trial and error kind of made it into what works best for me. So very simple today. All we're gonna need is a glute band. I like the fabric kind because they tend to stay in place a little better, and especially for the exercises that I'm gonna use it for today, it's a little bit stronger. Nothing too fancy, but something you can get off Amazon for like $15, $20. And then also a yoga block would be best, but I don't have any yoga blocks handy because I'm on vacation in Bali here right now, and I just have some handstand blocks. So I'm gonna use these handstand blocks, and if you have something like a thick book, or if you wanna roll up a couple towels in place of this, you'll see what we use it for when we get to it. That's gonna be totally fine. But if you do have yoga blocks, or if you're just more flexible than me, you might not even need this extra bit. And then of course I'm sitting on this stool, not just as a prop, but we're gonna use this for the stability work as well. So without too much more preamble, let's just get right to it. The first thing we're gonna do is put this band around our knees. And we're gonna do some lateral side steps. So when I'm doing my lateral side steps, what I like to think about is keeping my feet facing straight ahead. I'm gonna crouch into my squat, but I'm gonna sit my hips back a little bit. So here I can already feel my glutes engaging, and I'm putting enough pressure into this band to keep it stretched, but I'm not trying to maximize the stretch. I'm not trying to get out to any kind of false knees out super further than they need to be. Mostly just right above my big toe is where I'm kind of looking to keep that knee, and then hips back a little bit. So if I look straight down now from my knee, it's like right behind where my big toe starts. So here, very simple, keep my abs tight, keep that sensation in my glutes. I'm gonna stay low, reach to the side, take a step, reach to the side, take a step, reach to the side, take a step. If I wasn't on camera, I'd just keep going to the same direction for about 15 steps, but since I'm trying to stay on the camera, we'll go back and forth 5 times. That's 1. 5, awesome. So even after like the first set, I can already feel that really burning a lot. Feel my glute, it's getting a nice pump on both sides. When we take that first step, should feel a lot of stability here in the planted hip as we reach. But of course, as we push out against the band into that step, we're gonna feel it on that side as well. Basic idea is we do wanna feel both sides. If you only feel one side, chances are that's because you're turning the hips or maybe standing up when you take a step and not maintaining that nice hips low, knees straight ahead position as you step. So really try to focus on feeling both sides as you work through those reps. All right, so the next exercise is hip airplanes. And I'm gonna use this stool here for assistance on my balance so I can really focus on feeling this very specific muscle activation, and I don't have to waste any energy trying to balance. Let's start on the right leg. In this exercise for today, the way we're doing it, I'm gonna keep my knee bent the entire time. In the start position, we're gonna turn the hips open. So I'm gonna use the strength of my glute here to push my hips open as much as I can, and I should feel the entire glute max here in the back, glute med here in the side, driving up as I push that hip on top of my foot and open into abduction. And I'm gonna add to this by also lifting my top leg as high as I can. And so here in this position, I'm gonna hold for 10 seconds. We're not gonna time it today just because I'm talking so much, so we'll call it 10 seconds. And then after I've held for 10 seconds here, I'm going to drop down and allow this hip to settle into internal rotation. And so here in this position, I wanna keep my back nice and straight. I don't wanna be rounded over like this. And as I sit into this position, I'm gonna allow this hip to relax, and I should feel a nice stretch in those same muscles that I had felt engaging to push myself back to the top. So here, knee is bent a little more as I sit into it, and then I'm gonna kind of sit back, use my assistance, and just hunt for this deep capsule mobilizing sensation inside my hip. Back leg is kind of up, but just whatever you need to do with it, it can even be on the ground. It's totally fine. And then we'll push back up. I'm only gonna do 3 reps of this one. Knee is bent at the top. It's a little straighter, but it's not locked out. And then this top leg is adding to that abduction to pull as high as I can. 10 seconds, back down. Last rep. Driving strong with this hip. Pulling high with this hip. Last stretch in the bottom. Find that glute sensation, and then I bend the knee. Sit the hips backwards. And let myself sink into that internal rotation. Again, roughly 10 seconds per side, not timing it exactly. More important that we hunt for that sensation and feel each activation get stronger rep to rep, and feel each stretch get deeper rep to rep. Let's do the other side. Won't talk through it. We'll just kind of fast forward through it as we go. Left side coming up. Okay, so let's knock out left side, same exact way. Knee stays a little bit bent. I'm gonna open. I'm gonna drive this hip in and up, and then add to it by lifting my outside hip as well. Feel that good squeeze, that good push. And as I drop down, find that glute stretch, make sure my back is still straight. And then I sit into it, trying to get that hip to drop down. And so this is my bad side. It's a little funkier. I can feel it kind of clicks and grinds as it comes down. But each rep, that's gonna get smoother. So if you do feel some like clicking and bumping around, you should feel that each rep, and then especially if you repeat this for a period of weeks, that is gonna get a lot smoother as you work through it. It's number 2. Last one. So here, if you do want to add to it a little bit, you can kind of push down on this top leg, and that'll make it a lot harder. You'll feel more burn on both sides. All right, last stretch. Find that glute, keep that back straight, and then sit into it. Drop into internal rotation. Back leg up a little bit, but again, down here is fine. The main idea is that back is straight and we feel the sensation in the glutes. So any minor adjustments that you need to make that happen is what we want to do. Whew, awesome. So that's the hip airplane. Top position is engaging, bottom position is stretching, and we're always using balance for that drill so that we can focus specifically on that engagement and not worry about having to balance and wobble through our reps and miss the opportunity to get that proper activation that we're looking for. So let's do one more stabilization activation exercise, and we'll finish with single stretch to wrap things up. Back to the band. Put him just above our knees, and now super simple here, I'm just gonna do what I call a pulse squat. So I'm gonna get into a very similar position as to what I had for the lateral side steps. Feet are gonna face straight ahead. As I crouch, a little bit of pressure on that band, but more or less keeping my feet and knees right in line with one another, not getting over the top with that activation to go out into like a funky butterfly position. So I'm gonna crouch into it, very similar setup. Hips are back, already feeling the glutes. And now from here, I'm gonna sit deeper into that and then back up. Not so high that I lose it, but I'm gonna stay with that glute squeeze the whole way through. And so here, I just pulse down and up. I usually go for like 30 to 60 seconds, just depending how it feels. And just go till I don't want to do anymore. So I think I've done a few so far. Let's do 20 more. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Whew, it burns like hell. My butt feels like an Instagram model right now, but also without doing any stretching, that airplane is a mobilization, but it's not formal stretching. My hips feel buttery loose. Some of that clicking that I'll normally have when I'm stiff or when I first wake up in the morning, completely gone just after those 3 exercises. And without talking, you can get those done in less than 5 minutes. So let's wrap up here now. All right, last stretch, pigeon pose. That's what we're gonna use these blocks for. When we do the pigeon pose, I want you to think of it just like a squat. If you were to do squats and your body was to twist and your back was to round, if you have experience with weight training, you would know that that's bad. But for whatever reason, when we do hip mobilizations, we twist our spine, we round our spine, and we do all of this extra stuff that actually takes motion out of the hips. So I'm gonna use these blocks so that I can sit my hips up a little bit higher, focus on keeping my abs tight and my spine straight, and that's gonna allow me to force the motion to come from this hip joint and actually do a hip mobilization instead of just some kind of weird body contortion that doesn't get into the focus of what we're looking to do. So place these blocks on the ground. If you have the yoga blocks, the towel, anything, that's totally fine. And if you're quite flexible, you can of course just do this right on the floor. I'm gonna set up so my shin is perpendicular to the angle that I'm facing. So facing side to side, and my knees open to about 90 degrees. From here, adjust the blocks so they're right under my hip. Then I can check my abs if I'm twisted like so. Get them back straight, flex, posture up, and then lean forward. And you should feel a nice stretch here in the back of that hip. Typically I'll hold about 60 seconds or 2 minutes. Take some breaths, engage to push, and then relax. It's gonna allow you to sink deeper as it opens up. Move your setup lower. Make sure that you don't get pulled to the side. You stay active in the core and push deep into that stretch. Cool. Let's do the other side. Again, shin perpendicular to the front. Adjust these blocks so they're under my hip. This is my tight side. You can see majorly twisted up here. So I'm really gonna have to focus to squeeze my core, push strong off my back leg to get myself squared up. Now you can see that my abs are nice and lined up, not twisted. And from here I can settle into the stretch, breathe. And with each breath I can sink a little deeper. Feel the glutes open up, flex against that stretch, and then relax and sink deeper as it opens up. All right, so that was my morning hip stability routine with a little bit of mobility mixed in there at the end. If you can mix this into your morning routine on a daily basis, you're going to feel the benefit in just a few weeks. So without me talking, once you get familiar with these exercises and you can knock them out back to back, you're gonna feel an awesome burn. You're gonna be done in 10 minutes. And if you're gonna be lifting weights later in the day, running, doing calisthenics, whatever type of training you do, your hips are gonna be more prepared for that training, especially if you know you're gonna have to sit a lot. This is gonna be a great way to kind of get some blood into those hips before you spend all day at a desk and then try to get off to the gym to do your workout. If you found it useful, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.